Welcome back to Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. We're in the final chapters of our journey through Kenan and Kel. I am Y2 Adam.
And I am Y2 Aaron.
Not as good of a joke as Kenan and Kel this week on that one.
What, you mean Y2 Kenan and Y2 Kel?
Yeah.
That was pretty classic.
This episode is called Futurama. Not to be confused with the show Futurama, which aired a couple months prior to this.
A couple months prior.
Yes. I looked it up. March of 1999 is when Futurama aired. And this came out on literally December 31st of 1999.
Right, but it was probably written before the Futurama show came out, so no, I don't know about that. I'm joking.
Animation takes a long time to get produced.
Well, you know what? Kenan and Kel is still culturally relevant all throughout the 90s and literally into the 2000s. So we will always be able to say that Kenan and Kel made it to this century.
Yeah, Kenan and Kel exists across 2 centuries.
It's pretty impressive. And Adam, I think that it's our goal to make sure Kenan and Kel exists throughout every century left.
Okay. I mean, we caught the ball of Kenan and Kel, like reruns and stuff like that. We just kind of, I guess we're passing it along through this podcast to future generations.
That's right. There's not many Kenan and Kel full season, collections out there. There's Paramount Plus, but then there's like your obscure DVD box.
Our podcast might be the most complete Kenan and Kel gathering.
Which is terrifying.
We're 2 episodes after this one in a TV movie, and that's it. That's all of Kenan and Kel. So, and then we're gonna do other Kenan and Kel bits.
Yeah.
I want every moment that Kenan. Well, maybe that's a big ask, but Kenan and Kel, I want to see the 2 of them in every form here.
Yep, and we're going to. That's the goal of this podcast. But of course, we got to talk about this episode. And Adam, I don't know if you would agree, but I think this is a pretty timeless episode.
A very timely episode.
The time puns come out again.
Yeah. As we started this podcast during the pandemic, I've been waiting very much to see this episode. Yeah.
And I think we should probably hurry up and record these last episodes so the pandemic can end, because I think we've determined that it's pretty reliant on this podcast.
Yes, we have. So let's get right to it then.
Let's get right to it.
Jump on Bitter Orange Couch with Coolio.
Magic and Kareem, or Penn and Teller. Nancy Drew. I don't know. I never get the Nancy Drew line in the theme song. Why? Mysteries. Yeah, Nancy Drew mysteries. Really?
It's not. Kenan and Kel aren't a mystery like Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys might solve. It's something. It's just right there in front of you. There's nothing to it.
Anyways, here we are on stage. We have great outfits as always, classic outfits.
They really capture the energy of the turning from 1999 to 2000, and they come out and they're very pro it. I think a lot of people in this time were afraid of Y2K.
Oh yeah,
and what it would do to computers and stuff.
They're like, all right, well, because they're young people. They're like, well, I don't...
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, no, they're really embodying that, woo, let's celebrate the new millennia.
Like, hey, guys, we're not going anywhere, so...
And Kel, what Kenan and Kel are talking about here is hey, do you think that our show will be showing reruns 1,000 years from now in the next millennia?
And then they're like, okay, well, let's see. If that's the case, that means, we're talking to people in the future right now. And
which they are. They're talking to us.
They are. And then they break the fourth wall, and they look at the camera, and they're pleading. They're like, because Kel says that he likes to watch reruns and make fun of all the people's clothes and the way they talk and stuff.
I was losing it when he was talking about making fun of.
And I was like, oh my God, I feel so bad. This is exactly what we do to you every single week.
Yeah, making fun of their old clothes and old hairstyles. They look at the screen at us, at you and me, and they say, that's not nice, future people.
That's not nice, future people. Oh, my gosh.
I would like to apologize to past Kenan and Kel for making fun of your looks, your drips of the era.
Yes, but that is just what we do when we watch old TV. I am so glad that this episode is a thing, that they went through with this episode. As we're going to see, we have all different sets.
Yeah, this is I would call it the highest concept episode of Kenan and Kel.
Absolutely. It's the greatest idea so far, and they really saw it through. But I just can't wait to talk about all the funny things that, even 22 years later are just so ridiculous to conceive of. But then this episode really makes you think of how far we've come, because we've been watching the world of Kenan and Kel in the late 90s for quite some time now, throughout the whole history of this podcast. But so much has changed, and this is kind of in our lifetime, right? So much has changed just with technology. So pretty awesome episode we got here.
Yeah, so as Kenan posits, he says, why don't we do tonight's episode in the year 3000? That way it'll look relevant to people in the future.
Right, exactly. And it's their greatest sci-fi attempt to imagine what the future may be, the writers of Kenan and Kel.
Yeah, the writers clearly had a blast on this one.
Yeah, and it was pretty obvious that, I think everybody around this time was kind of engaging in the ideas of the future and technology and how...
Especially when you're turning your clock over and you're writing 2000. It's very much... That was the number for a long time. It was like I think it was like the Donut Master 2000 or whatever.
Right.
That's what people would say when they think of what's the future.
Yeah. Oh man.
The Nimbus 2000 and all that.
And so here we are in the future. Wow, amazing. And the stuff we have today is pretty amazing. But back then it was concept. But it was cool how we got to see the writers kind of engage in this almost this less professional conversation about how the future is going to advance. They're not Star Trek writers. They're not you know what I mean? They're not science fiction. But they're let's have fun.
It's a great format because now every line that any character says in the rest of this episode can be a joke.
Right, exactly.
It's a joke, it's a riff, it's a parody of the current era and the future era.
And how they come together. So Kenan is ready to go off stage. Kel asks if he'll need a jacket in the future. And come on, Spacey, we're going to the future.
Then we enter Kenan's bedroom in the year 3000.
Well, really quick, Kel goes, if the show is in the future, then this right now here in the past, is it? It's then is this right now here in the past? It's yes, Kel.
Yes, it is in the past.
Yes, it is. So, okay, here we go. We enter Kenan's bedroom, and describe it to us, Adam.
There is a large pod, like a tube that Kenan's sleeping in.
Vertically.
Yeah, this chamber that he's literally standing and sleeping in.
His room has this really cool a lava lamp, except it's life-sized. It's the size of a person. And it's kind of just the lava on the inside. Super futuristic-y. And then these really cool plastic beanbag chairs.
Yeah, it's and the colors of his room really pop in this one too. Isn't it purple and stuff, right?
Yeah, his room's purple. He has a picture of astronauts behind him, which is the first indication that we have some intergalactic civilizations / intergalactic travel here.
Yeah, which is very fun because I think my vibe is that those are like basketball players and stuff like that, but the 3000 version is that they're also in space.
Right. And I love how great the world building is this episode, because it's such a small, you got 20 minutes, right? Or 18 minutes. It's let's just have as much fun as we can. So Kel comes over and he goes, Kenan, wake up, get out of your module.
He also, the first thing he says that we enter his room, he says lights on and lights turn on. He's got an Alexa or Google Home.
Right. Except when the lights turn on, they go.
Because they didn't realize that there was going to be LED bulbs or anything like that.
Yep. So I think that's the first of the almost.
Yeah. So
do you want to just?
Kel's wearing chrome.
Yep. A chrome hat and a chrome. How would you describe his outfit? Just a chrome.
It's a jumpsuit. It's a jumpsuit. There's one orange piece on the collar, and spoiler alert, it's the outfit that everyone wears.
Yep. Which makes me think that we're in a fallen state. I don't know how else to describe that. It's it seems like we don't really have much freedom when it comes to.
I mean, Kenan's pajamas still steal the show when it comes to outfits.
Oh my gosh, there are blue sequins pajamas.
just when he thought his like pajamas could get louder.
I would have loved to see like the what do they call it? Outfit, makeup, or whatever.
Yeah, the dressing.
Dressing, yeah. To find like some of these items, because somebody either made that or that was something that they like found and purchased for Kenan.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine that someone spent time putting all those sequences on there.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing, honestly.
Ironically, in the year 2000, this was not an uncommon outfit. They'd have to commission this.
Right. Yeah. So Kenan actually puts his jumpsuit on over top of his pajamas, which makes me think that there's some kind of like Dune action happening. You know, this like moisture wicking
we don't see him,
hydration.
We don't see him outside. Maybe there's like like storms of sorts. Like
like Interstellar. I think that's kind of what's going on. Yeah.
I like how he goes to his closet and he says, "I don't know what to wear."
Kel goes,
same outfit.
How about this one? And then they have to go to school because they have a big alien biology test. I love this concept, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I love okay, we meet aliens, and then they have their own whole biology curriculum, and then we teach it in schools. But I hate the idea that there's still school in 1,000 years. That's terrible. Kids have to go to. Kids have to wake up and go to. It's terrible. Anyways,
so Kenan's excited because if he does well on his test, his dad's going to buy him Laserball tickets.
Yeah, big Laserball game.
Cal's favorite basketball player is Michael Jordan, the 22nd,
which is perfect.
I haven't worked out that math. I think that might be like too few or too many. I don't know.
I actually just trusted that they worked out the math, Adam.
Okay.
So I do want to describe Kenan's room a little bit. His like space boots type thing are just on this. They're being held up by this little astronaut figurine. He's got these yellow cubes where his like toys are in, kind of. And then he has what seems like a butterfly net, an orange butterfly net, just like hanging next to his door. And his door looks like a refrigerator door.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the net's for.
I have no idea.
I think it's funny that there's technology in this that they're not familiar with that we know of and that we've known for many years, but they still got like nets and stuff like that.
Yeah, oh definitely. It's like hanging in your room, so it must be important. But yeah, all of his like trading cards are really in a neat line, and it's kind of funny. Okay, Adam, so let's talk about school.
So they go, all right, let's go to school. And then they walk over to the beanbag, sit down, and then they Zoom call their teacher.
I mean, and their teacher goes, "Oh, well, nice of you to show up." I kind of lost it here. Like, they nailed this. This is exactly what happened in the past couple years.
This is currently what school looks like.
Exactly. They just sit down, and then they're in the classroom.
They have an alien female professor, whose name is Mrs.
Which is an ongoing joke throughout the episode.
And then we push past our current pandemic teaching styles, and they're like, all right, lower the testing cones.
And so these funny looking like funnels basically fall down from the ceiling right onto Kel's head, and then Kenan kind of has to move his head a little bit. And Kel takes his hat off before, by the way. There's these red flashing lights go up the testing cone tube, and then they basically are the cones tap into their brain, and that's how they take their test.
Yeah, the cones raise, and then she says, "Class dismissed," and they're like, "Man, I thought the class would never end."
Yeah, their eyes are going back and forth during the test, and then so that's it.
I think that's to your credit. They have, in a sense, abolished like the greater school system. Yeah, so this isn't the worst version.
No.
Again, they're waking up really early in the morning for this.
Yeah, and I don't know who else is in the class. I think it's cool that they just attach this thing to your brain. I mean, how to eliminate cheating, but also what a total invasion of privacy.
It eliminates cheating. There's no like time crunch. Like, I know some people struggle with that part of the test. I did in college for sure.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's just everyone has the same amount of time. It tests to see if the knowledge is in your brain. So whether you studied or not is how it judges.
I don't know how that tests problem-solving capabilities, but we'll go with it. I like the idea. It's funny. It's funny and it makes sense.
So now let's check out some more of the Rockmore's house.
Yeah. we go down and next on the Ancient History Channel is on the TV, and the TV looks like this little white orb that has like a webcam on the side, and the screen is still like a normal TV screen.
Yeah,
there's only so much you can fake in these.
Cheryl is watching TV, and she has this crazy blue hairstyle.
Yeah, it looks like
she looks like a Marge Simpson with like Bart Simpson's haircut.
She looks like the troll doll, or like the troll dolls.
Yeah, no, and the whole rest of the place is all decked out and looking really cool.
Yeah, this couch is awesome. I think it's more so from the 80s than from the future, but
there's all these like weird shaped lamps and orbs, and it looks very Jetsons. I think, to put it in a way.
Yeah, that's fair. Very Jetsons. Yeah, 2 million channels and there's still nothing good on. How relatable. She's definitely not watching reruns of Kenan and Kel. And then Roger kind of just breaks the mood. He walks in wearing a 1990s suit and tie.
Which I thought at one point, it's like they do a couple of references to like way back when, and it's like I can't fathom what things were like in the year like 1022.
No,
like they're so beyond my comprehension. So the fact that she's like making fun of her wearing like an old outfit, it's like, what are you talking about? It's like showing up like us wearing like peasant clothes.
I know, right?
Like proto-peasant clothes, like what the Romans wore.
Yeah, yeah, like wearing like freaking sandals and stockings. Oh wait,
like we didn't have pants back then. So in 1,000 years they might not have pants anymore. So it's. But the joke is that he's very much like still stuck in old technology, and outdated things.
And Adam, as funny as this episode did send me into a mild existential crisis. Like, oh my god, what is the world going to be like 1,000 years from now? But I was quickly overcome with laughter when I saw how Roger reacts to Cheryl's blue hair.
I was rewatching the Hitchcock movie Rope recently. I think that was made around the 60s or so. You see, like, people, like, back then, they were dressed nice, and they had these big, like, the suits had giant shoulder pads to them. But they were still suits. So you think about it, like, okay, across 50 years, suits haven't changed in a major way. And I think the shirt and tie, I could see that carrying on for another 100 years. Maybe not 1,000 years, but I kind of get I could see the potential.
I think the turtleneck is definitely more futurist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
like,
think we'll all be wearing turtlenecks?
Yeah, like Steve Jobs, right? It's like, turtleneck, the sweater has completely left the tie. Buttons, that's so much work.
Apparently Cheryl yesterday had green sparkly hair.
And then she's trying to keep up with the styles. So like a housewife in the 3000s is what Cheryl's character is.
Yeah. And I get that. That makes perfect sense to me. That style changes like day to day.
They're like bright colors, right? I mean, how creative can you get with brown and black hair? Like
we're seeing trends like that nowadays when it comes to like I'd say a TikTok, for example, really shows kind of how quick something can move through pop culture. Like it's there in a minute, then it's gone the next. So I could see that trend, something like that carrying out in the future.
Right. I feel like Roger. I got rid of TikTok for the past month, and I feel like I'm kind of not a part of society anymore.
And that sounds healthy.
And it's very good for
honestly.
me. Yeah, it's but Instagram Reels kind of sucked me in, and those are horrible. Those are like 1.5 out of 10 of like how could you spend your time. TikTok's like a 4.
Kenan and Kel come down the stairs and they're talking about these teams in the future that are going at it. The opposing team that's facing out against the Chicago Bulls, I assume, is the Tentapods.
The Tentapods, right. Very exciting. They got great defense, says Kel. And Roger says, you're not allowed to go see Laserball until I see your grades. Good classic values there.
Absolutely. They have great defense because they have 6 arms each. Kenan has to take out the trash.
Right.
And Cal is very much like, I want to use the trashinator.
Yep. And so he pulls the trashinator off the wall, which is right by the front door.
It looks like a giant bop at extreme.
It's wonderful. It is a tremendous invention of this show. And Adam, what does the trashinator do?
You point it at trash, and it shoots a laser at it, and it gets rid of the trash.
You know, Adam, what does this remind you of anything that you've seen in science fiction recently?
Well, what comes to your mind?
Well, I'm thinking this is like, okay, you think about Ant-Man and Pym particles and how they can shrink things down.
You think it's just making the trash very, very tiny?
I don't think that's what it is, but I'm saying if we could invent a shrink ray, how great would that be for getting rid of trash?
That'd be perfect for this occasion.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering, like, are they, like, vaporizing it? Is it, like, going into the air?
No,
is it being teleported?
I think it's more so going into the quantum realm, but I don't think they explained that very clearly.
No. What we do understand is that this is a very old version of the Trashinator.
Yes.
And that Roger hasn't bought a new one yet. And I think they did future Roger's, like, characterization great. He's just stuck in old technology, and he's kind of like curmudgeon-y about it, and he doesn't want to upgrade.
Yeah.
He's like, it works fine, which is something I think a lot of kids can relate to with their parents talking about.
Yeah. It's like, look, we can get a new vacuum. This cool one doesn't even have a cord. It's like, the other one works fine. And it's the one from the 80s with like the giant bag, and it just smells like mold. Like, they don't make them like they used to.
Kel gets a little overenthusiastic and shoots the lamp as well in there.
Yeah, which causes the lights to dim. And then they're all just kind of like, oh, Kel.
In the dark. Gotta say, loving the transitions this episode, too.
Yeah, super flashy and neon.
Everyone that's had a movie editing program has this phase where they go through like, ooh, let me try this one.
Like, oh, this...
and there's all these.
This one would be perfect for a future episode. Kel runs into Rigby's.
Futuristic Rigby's.
It's totally different. Same layout, but totally different. Seems like there's less items, and things are more cleanly placed on these shelves.
They had a very kind of minimalist like view of the future. It wasn't like overcrowded or anything like that.
Right.
All the Rigby's items, all the foods and different objects are capsules.
Yep. Just add water.
Yep. Just same size capsules for everything.
Yep. And so some of the foods, like when the woman goes to checkout later,
it's a bunch of little capsules, but there's cream spinach, a pound of bananas, detergents, chicken cordon bleu.
Yep.
And blueberry pie, and they all look the exact same. That's the joke.
They're like little Christmas ornaments that are different shades of neon. But so Kenan is still wearing the Rigby's apron over his futuristic jumpsuit, and the floor of Rigby's is still the blue and white checkered floor. Which is just painful. Like, there's no way that floor lasted 1,000 years.
Cal's got some new music for them to listen to. They go to this giant, like, enormous, half the wall was this stereo system.
Yep. It's the new Flock of Monkeys ultra mini compact disc. And it is, it's so wrong, it's right. Like, the CD is like the size of like a quarter.
It's funny because like they couldn't imagine music being stored in a different shape.
They couldn't imagine streaming. They couldn't imagine how far the internet could go. They couldn't imagine Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Like, but they could imagine this giant futuristic looking speaker with these like sparkly bubbles, like making it look super high tech.
And I have to say, this part I think they got right.
Oh yeah.
Is like they start dancing to this future music, and to us it just sounds like a bunch of like beeps and bops.
Yeah.
That's how K-pop sounds to me.
The caption says strange arrhythmic music plays. It's just like there's no rhythm to it anymore. All the rhythms have been played. They just kind of have to go. Yeah. And Kenan looks confused. Kel looks like intense. Before we put the mini compact disc in the stereo, a little thing reaches out to like hold the disc.
Oh yeah, a little tiny arm.
Yeah, and so it's a little arm, except it has a bendy straw on it. Like, no, not a bendy straw, but like the swirly straw. That's like how they made it. It's like a blue, like swirly straw.
A++ to the props team for this episode.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I mean, besides the TV movie, this has to be the highest like budget episode. They like redid every set's a new set.
I would think so. Yeah, and they got matching costumes for everybody.
Sure.
I do like Kel's futuristic dance, by the way.
And their teacher has like this alien like prosthetics on.
Yeah, they're really good.
It reminds me of the time Drake and Josh dressed up like aliens. Like it looks very much like that. A lady's going to check out. She has all these capsules, and Kenan goes and he like enters the metaverse. He puts on like goggles and has like a power glove and is like using the virtual cash register.
Yeah,
to check her out.
It's a hockey glove, Adam, and it's Matrix glasses with like a little like a phone antenna on them.
Yeah, he looks like he's like punching stuff into like a calculator.
Yeah, it's kind of a ridiculous method, but it's so funny because like Amazon stores now, right? You can just walk in and walk out, and they know what you took.
Oh yeah. So
it's like the
I
idea
guess
of a cashier in 1,000 years. It's like, no.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
But he needs a price check on the blueberry pie. So who comes out to give him that?
Robot Chris.
Yes. Once again, another like one of like I want to say like the fourth or like different iteration of Chris. like throughout this season.
He's definitely the most dynamic character. He almost looks like a pewter Chris.
He's a pewter. Yeah, for now I'm calling him Pewter Chris.
His hair is like it looks like the Santa Claus. You know, like in the Santa Claus when.
Yes, the Santa Claus 2.
Santa Claus
like
2, like the fake Santa hair and like the statue hair.
It's like plastic over him. He's wearing like with like Tin Man, like kind of gray paint on his face, and he looks like a robot man.
Yeah, this costume's almost as good as Rick's pirate costume. Chris's brother Rick.
Yeah, he's got like a box chest and a bunch of like gizmos and gadgets on it. Looks like he has like a Darth Vader box like on front, like where that belongs.
He definitely could be the villain if he wasn't so aloof.
Yes. So he
and wait, his one hand is like a stump almost. It looks like a 2x4 painted gray.
Yeah, apparently that's like doing like giving him information and stuff like that. It's basically an iPhone he's got built into his hand.
But it's a 2x4. It's like this piece of wood. Meanwhile, while the price check's happening, Kel goes over to the wall of orange soda capsules, and he goes, "Who loves orange soda capsules?"
Kel loves orange soda capsules. Is it true?
Mm-hmm. Even in the year 3000, I do, ooh. Something that, right?
Yeah, that was it. The special today for the blueberry pie is that it's $3 million.
This is something they nailed. Absolutely nailed.
Yeah, I love this inflation joke.
It's so good.
Because, I mean, we've talked about this throughout the course of the show. It's like how much more all these things would cost nowadays. Right. So, yeah. In 1,000 years, it costs $3 million for one thing.
Right. And what does her total come out to be?
$43 million and 16 cents. So basically, I love that it's still and 16 cents.
Right.
But yeah, basically multiply everything by a million to get your dollars in this episode.
Yeah, I think a little bit more. I mean, all that food. And then Chris has this little catchphrase. Thank you for shopping at Rigby's, where the produce is fresher than a quasar in the Crab Nebula. We've gotten totally intergalactic.
We have. Speaking of, their teacher, Mrs. enters.
Adam, I actually believe it.
I think it's different every time they say it.
Yeah. There's no continuity there. What I do love is they open the doors of Rigby's and they show Mrs. walking through as the customer walks out. The customer, by the way, had these like same outfit, but like her hair was in these all like these tight buns all around her head. So that was pretty good hairstyle. But so as we see their teacher walking through, we kind of can see outside of Rigby's.
They didn't have to do this. This is really them swinging the lamp. They could just make it like black back there, like dark. It's nighttime or whatever. But yeah, you can see like some of the future town. Yeah,
there's the future town. There's like these really these shrubs with like Christmas lights on them, but it's supposed to look futuristic. And then there's this couple talking, and a lot of people have these like bubble packs that they're like swinging around their shoulder, like they're little.
Yeah, I think they're like backpacks and purses and stuff like that.
Right, but they're like see-through and neon at the same time.
She is telling them about their grades because they asked.
Mm-hmm. And Kenan got an A+.
Cal's excited for him. But then he explains to him in the audience, he's like, no, in the year 3000, an A+ is the worst grade you can get. Inflation, different system.
Yeah, but I actually think that's pretty accurate.
You think like a kind of like a participation trophy style way.
Exactly. Like, we don't want to make anybody feel bad, so we're just going to give them an A+. It looks so much better than an F or a D.
Yeah, so versus Kel, who actually did really well and got an A+, quadruple plus.
Right. I was like, wait a second. How does the work in between the pluses work? Like, what if you get like an A half plus? Like, wouldn't that be an A plus minus or?
I don't understand it, but it's the future, so I'm happy there's things in the future that I don't understand.
Yeah, but then again,
Like,
we still understand. Like, there's grades and like a cashier and an apron that says Rigby's on it.
Yeah. And Kel's replies to that great grade. He says, well, Mama always said I think like an alien.
She says, your parents will be very pleased when they receive report cards. The report card module this afternoon, which I can't wait to talk about this report card module, people.
Oh, yeah. So we're going back to the Rockmores to learn about that.
And so we find out that, Kenan's probably not going to be able to go to the Laserball game because of his bad grade. And Kel's trying to reassure him, well, like, okay, maybe he'll get you Monster Space Rally tickets instead.
Or tickets to Cats. That's a great joke, is that Cats is still airing in 1,000
That
years.
is a great joke, yeah. Because odds are, it probably will, right? I mean, we still have Shakespeare plays.
I hope that what they're showing is Cats, the 2020 movie.
I really hope so.
I hope that has a larger cultural relevancy in the year 3000 than the actual play.
Probably.
So they go to the Rockmores. That, like I said, every line in this episode's awesome. Because Kenan's talking, is like, man, I can't wait to watch the Chicago Phasers kick some Tentapods' butts.
Yeah.
And Kel says, Tentapods don't have butts. That's why you failed alien biology. That's just a really well-written exchange. It could have been any type of alien history or
right.
like that, but they said biology so they can make that joke.
They're keeping the continuity in. Yeah, that's really good. I love the idea of there being aliens that are just chilling with these dumb humans.
So, Aaron, explain to us the mail system.
Okay, so there's did you ever go to the bank and you went to the drive-through?
Yes, we've gone there together.
Yeah, no. I'm just talking to the audience.
Oh, it's the audience. It's the fans.
And they have the little chute.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, same thing, except that's where the mail comes from. So Kenan's waiting under this thing because, God forbid, his dad, who's not even home, gets the mail first. Meanwhile, Kel pulls out the old trashinator and trashinates Kenan's mom's favorite vase. So the mail comes. It's dropped down, and it looks like a little tiny mini floppy disk.
Yeah.
First off,
as they know in the future, a save button.
Right. Why? Wait, was email not a thing in 2000?
Oh, it was a thing in that year. So I can't believe they didn't realize that mail was going to be physical. I think they did it for story reasons, because right here, as you're about to see, Roger enters and oh, the mail's here, and takes it from Kenan.
Right.
These are your grades. I'm going to go download them.
Report card module. Right, and Kenan's plan was to go into the computer and change the grade. But that is not going to happen. He's going to look at the report card. And then Cal really quickly says, oh, don't worry, I'll just trashinate the disk.
Which, even if he succeeded in that endeavor, they would have still gotten into all kinds of trouble. So he points the trashinator at Roger, which I'm certain if there's a trashinator, directions, you shouldn't do this. But enough people do that there's a function built in. We'll get into that in a second.
Yep, but basically Cal trashinates Roger, and Roger disappears.
Which is amazing.
Very, very amazing.
because Cal causes him so much pain and trouble in the modern day. In the future, it's still happening, but on a greater scale. To the fact that he, as we were about to learn, he's like, why are you looking at me like that? Has turned Roger invisible. Oh yeah, Roger's still there. He's just invisible. And so for the rest of this episode, Kenan's dad is a voice. But he's still a physical body who can grab Cal and shake him. Yes, which is what he does in a few moments here. Yeah, I mean, this is great. So first off, this is quite the technology, okay? You can vaporize anything you want. Not just trash. Anything you want like that. Think about murder. No evidence. Yeah. And the murderer trashinates themselves and turns them invisible, so they can't be spotted. Yeah, I mean, come on. Now that you mention it, this is a very dangerous technology. Terribly dangerous.
It's an invisible machine?
Yeah.
Like, you can definitely have a small one of these that you can just...
The cops buy, like, armor, and the villains buy armor-piercing rounds. I feel like Law, whatever form that they have, certainly has, like, infrared and can detect when there's a Trashinator did stuff. And
I'm definitely getting very, very much, like, a lot of state control in this episode. With all the uniforms.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah. And all the chrome doors, the metal doors.
But hey, they still got sports.
They do. They still have entertainment. Thank God.
It's not all bad.
Yeah, it's not like they're just trying to, keep people occupied with all their forms of entertainment, so they don't start an uprising.
Yeah, they got great stuff like music and sports and a really short school day.
Yeah, it's perfect.
No one questions why they're not learning human biology in his class or anything like that.
No.
Why
can't have that information?
Why aliens are dominating them in every category, including teaching and
took all their jobs.
Education. Sports, they're better at them too, as we learn later.
Yep. A human can't compete with a Tentapod. Anyways, Kenan is like freaking out. Cal is, of course, being strangled by Roger, and everybody's kind of freaking out. And then Kenan's like, okay, let's look for an emergency number on the trashinator. And then he goes over and he goes to this phone system that's built into the wall. It's like a video conferencing system.
Exactly. And he calls Trashinator and Son.
I love that the graphic that's used for this guy to show up. It zooms in from the corner, kind of like sweeps down, and then his picture shows up.
It looks like a transition like they have on the show.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this bald dude with a goatee. It's like, hello, how can I help you?
And he explains the situation. He's like, don't worry, it just turns people invisible. All you need to do is use the reverse valve. And then Cal very excitedly goes over and pulls it off them. The Trashinator.
Yep, he broke it. He broke the only thing that could turn Roger back.
Well, he's like, do you have like a new one? He's like, we do, but not for models that old. Looks like it's from the 25th century.
Ha, good luck. And then he leaves.
Yeah.
First off, the fact that they have a real person on the other line of customer support, big props, year 3000.
Oh, yeah.
We could use that.
He might be a real person. We know his last name is Trashinator.
Okay.
He could be some kind of android.
Yeah, some avatar.
I mean, we you know what AI looks like nowadays. I imagine in 1,000 years, AI could probably look as nice as a person.
We're getting into simulation theory, Adam. Did you buy your metaverse home yet, Adam?
I have not, and I don't plan on it.
Me neither. I guess call us old school.
If we end up rewatching all of Kenan and Kel, I'm going to I'll have to do something like that to make it interesting. It's like I'm watching it from my
metaverse,
my meta room.
Can we have a metaverse? Oh, we should make a metaverse Kenan and Kel house.
Yeah, actually, this is not a bad idea. You're kind of selling me on this.
A little like a Nickelodeon neighborhood. It's like Drake and Josh's house is over here. Kenan and Kel are over there.
Yeah, this is actually kind of cool.
Nickelodeon metaverse.
We cut to later on at dinner,
which is a nice scene. Everybody's just kind of fine that Roger's invisible. They're gonna figure it out.
Well, they are kind of still figuring it out. It's
Kenan sitting across from Kel, invisible Roger at the head of the table, and Cheryl comes through.
There's a very good, very quick world building here where Kel's like, "Boy, these lamb chops are good. How do you cook them, Mrs. Rockmore?" And she's like, "Well, the same way we cook all food. I add water to the capsule, and then it's lamb chops."
Yep, like an MRE.
They're surprised that Roger's there. He's like, "You haven't even touched your dinner yet."
Yeah, and he says he's not hungry, and Cheryl's like, "It's so hard to see you." Kel goes, "Yeah, you are looking a little thin."
Roger throws a roll at him, and he says, "Did you see that? That dinner roll just jumped off the table, hit me in the head."
And Kenan goes, "Kel, that was my dad." "Your dad's a roll?"
So it's a lot of that stuff.
Magic roll.
Yeah. Kel's feeling very bad about what he did. And so when the soup comes out, he's like, "Don't worry, Mr. Rockmore, I'll get that for you."
Yep, and so Kel with the hot bowl of soup is not a good idea. Of course, it falls...
What? Last episode, we saw this bit. The hot cookie tray, remember?
Yep.
Yeah, so he tries to handle the hot bowl of soup and starts shouting that's hot, and you guessed it, drops it directly onto Roger's lap.
And when he drops it, he kind of like looks away. It's kind of funny. He's just like so nonchalant about it, and then he just drops it. Invisible Roger freaks out and kind of like pins Kel's left hand behind his back in like a shoulder lock, and then he throws him on the couch. He
starts beating him up with like wrestling moves. So
great slapstick by Kel here. Just like he's knocking it out of the park. Being wrestled by an invisible man.
I will say, Kel and Kenan both in like great form this episode.
Oh yeah.
Kenan's reaction to like his dad getting trashinated was very good. We always talk at the end of the episode about whose fault this episode was. Cheryl thinks that this is partially Roger to blame. Yeah. If you would
have bought a new trashinator like I suggested, you wouldn't be in this mess. And I love how Cheryl is so consumer. She's such a consumer, right?
Yes.
Exactly. She's got the hair. She needs a new trashinator. She's like all on the new trends.
Meanwhile, Roger is all about this antiquated stuff, and she points out like that thing you have on the wall. And he's like, that's a baseball bat.
Yeah. It's an antique.
And Kenan and Kel have no idea what it is about. Kel's like pulling it down and like, holding it weird and...
Yeah, it's like that stick. It's so funny. And so, yeah, Kel's like twirling it around, swinging it. He's like, how do you even use this thing? Kel, put that down. And then he swings it, and it hits Roger.
Yep, like 2 or 3 times. It like whacks Roger with it. But then Kenan says, oh, that's it. Antique.
Oh, yes. I have found the secrets to this futuristic episode in antiquity. Because that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. And Kel's like, yeah, antique means old. It's a noun that means old stuff.
I know what antique means. And then Kenan has the idea, what if we go to the antique store, look for an old trashinator reverse valve, and then we can bring Kenan's dad back.
They leave to go there.
Yep, but before they leave, Kel throws the bat, which is now a little bit bent. The prop bat is a little bit bent, just in case Kel, actually hurt somebody. So he throws the bat, and it hits Roger one last time. We hear him scream, oh!
Because he's invisible, we don't see it, but I'm going to add that to the tally of things that hit Roger in the head.
Yep, that adds.
All right, so let's go to the antique store.
Another set.
They didn't need an extra set, but they have one. It's right here.
Adam, what kind of things are in this antique store?
As Kenan says, I knew this stuff would be old. I didn't think it would date all the way back to 1990s.
Yeah, to the 1990s, yeah. So they have an ironing board, a scale, like a balance, the thing that like justice and peace or whatever. A phone. They have like an old little radio. They got a dustpan, umbrella.
And I think it's a really fun part of the episode. Well, I think an antique store like should have things from a couple different eras. It's very weird that it's all exactly 1,000 years ago.
Hey, come on, Adam.
Okay, a lot of those things might be like 900 years ago.
No, but I mean, it's antique, right? It's like look at that old frog cookie jar. Like they clearly just got stuff from backstage and brought it up.
Yeah, no, I get it.
A plunger. Like, don't you think they'd still have plungers?
Yes, I would. But the cool thing about it is that Kenan's explanations for what they were. So, Kel shows him like a wall clock, which I think kids nowadays might have the same reaction that Kenan does. Because, everything's like digital nowadays and it's hard to...
See, that's a myth. Kids know how to read clocks.
I don't know, Aaron. I struggle to read a clock. I struggle to read it.
Adam, I work with kids on a daily basis. I'm like, hey, do you guys know how to read this? They're like, yeah, that's a clock. I'm like, oh. And they're like 14. So, I don't know. I feel like somebody taught them. One of their teachers, like, think about teachers, right? Until kids become teachers, that they're going to have wall clocks. First off, you take the wall clock off the wall in these old buildings, these old school buildings, and there's a giant hole there. It's like a paint, like they painted around the clock. It looks terrible. It's better to just leave it up there.
I agree, but Kenan's explanation for this clock is that it's like it helps kids count 1 to 12.
It's a device, yeah. I like that a lot.
What's the other thing that Kel asks about?
There's a skateboard, and they're like, it looks like a back massager, which makes a lot of sense. And then Kel turns around, Kenan like rolls the wheels on his back. Actually,
it looks like it's doing a good job.
It's pretty nice. It's not a bad idea.
They think his cell phone's like some kind of musical instrument.
Yeah, cell phone magically has battery.
And then an old man that runs the shop kind of comes up and explains them very nicely. It's like, that used to be a phone. And then they just start laughing.
I think the old man should have had a different hairstyle, but
He should be a little more future-y.
a little bit more like the collector in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Some parts of this make me feel like, it's like, this could be like 100 years in the future. And he's a good example of that, because he's like an old man, and he explains all this stuff around him, even though he was born in the year 2950
Yeah, right,
or whatever.
right. I really, somebody must have spent way too long making a robot dog out of an RC car, but that's exactly what happens next, and it comes and it starts biting Kel. For no reason. It just kind of, it doesn't make any
Attacks his
sense.
ankle.
It doesn't make any sense at all. Why would a storekeeper have a robot dog that bites people? Whatever. Yeah,
that's kind of one of their props. Kenan asks for a reverse valve for an old trashinator, and he has one. It's going to cost $100 million.
Just a measly $100 million.
Kenan says, $100 million? Okay. Then he takes out his backpack that he has and starts just taking out stacks and stacks of cash.
This is definitely the most outdated part of the episode.
Well, it's the take on it's from the Great Depression era, when inflation got so bad, a loaf of bread costs a lot of jokingly a wheelbarrow full of cash.
Right.
So it's inflation's so bad in the future that something still costs stacks and stacks of money. So they did it for the visual gag, and I think it's very funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. Yeah.
I think it's a good future guess that we haven't. We haven't gotten rid of paper money.
We haven't gotten rid of paper money, and we haven't figured out how to not have inflation.
Yes, those are two things that I could believe in the future.
Yes, definitely. Meanwhile, Kel takes the valve while Kenan's pulling out the money, and then Kel puts it in a microwave.
Ooh, an electric merry-go-round.
Yep.
And he melts the reverse valve.
The only valve. And there's smoke coming up behind Kel. It looks real.
Yeah, it looks very real. You weren't supposed to put that on my I feel like Kel got a little, he got a hit of something that he shouldn't.
Yeah, a little plastic residue.
The old guy, when he's asking about the reverse valve, he's like, "What do you do? Try to trashinate your report card and accidentally turn your dad invisible?"
Kenan is just kind of don't worry about it.
When this is revealed, he says, "My reverse valve, my microwave, my bad."
And then they run away. Kenan, $100 million gone.
So they are back at Rigby's, and Kenan's giving Kel the silent treatment.
Yep, he's upset with him. Silent treatment hasn't gone away. And Kenan's actually flipping through a magazine, a paper magazine.
That baffles me.
So did Cheryl. Yeah, that didn't last very long.
Paper magazines are on the way out today.
Oh, yeah.
There's only 5 of them left.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Adam, in my classroom, I found National Geographic every single year. Of their magazine on CDs. I found a collector's item of it was old, but it was CDs. Computers don't even have CD drives.
Yeah, you're right. So that's the kind of trouble. And then yeah, Kel's recounting. He's like, "Are you mad? Are you still mad at me for turning your dad invisible?" And melting the only part that would have turned him back.
Yep, that's the episode so far.
Mm-hmm. So
Chris is charging at the recharge area.
Right. He's like, that's refreshing. and he's hearing about these troubles that he has, and he's like, "Oh, that's too bad. I have troubles with my reverse valves all the time." Yeah.
Turns around, and there's clearly a giant green reverse valve sticking out of him.
Yes, I know what a pain they can be. If I didn't need it to function properly, I'd give it to you.
And then he's basically saying that he has to go take Mother to the spa because she's getting the full treatment. Massage, facial, oil change.
which the audience loved that joke.
Yes, I'm glad we had a Chris Mother joke in this episode.
I am happy that it's there, but I kind of wish he would have said motherboard.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been good.
But yes, Kenan is scheming with Kel. He's like, he's not gonna let you borrow his reverse valve.
And so they make up this very quick plan where Kel is going to go distract Chris as Kenan takes his reverse valve off.
So Kel runs out in front of me. He says, "Wait, I have to tie my shoe."
It's like, Kel, shoes have tied themselves automatically for the past 100 years.
And then Kenan's like, he's trying to like kind of harass him and take the valve, and he's just like,
we find out what happens to Chris if his reverse valve gets taken out.
without it, he can't change directions.
And Kenan and Kel look at each other, and they're like, that's not really that big of a deal, Chris. They think to themselves, and then they just take it off.
Yeah, they go to take it from him, and he tries to run away, but he runs very, 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 very slowly.
Yeah, it's very choppy. Slow and choppy.
And they rip it off of him. And like he's like, I'm sorry, mother.
Yep.
As he like powers down.
Yeah, Chris is also wearing these platform shoes, which are just wonderful.
Yes. We have another sci-fi transition back to the living room.
Yeah, it's like the negative colors, everything's outlined. Yeah.
And the TV's reporting that the Tentapods won the game against the Chicago Phasers.
Yeah, that little subplot that was going on this whole time. And she's like, oh, who left the TV on? TV off.
I was watching that.
Yeah, right. Invisible Roger is watching the TV. Cheryl drops her plates and screams, oh.
I believe this dynamic a lot. Like if our dad was magically turned invisible, our mom would be freaking out a lot and getting scared by him.
He would just be watching TV.
Yeah, so I'm surprised he's not like wearing a sheet or something.
Right. No, he's not even holding anything. He's just kind of sitting in the same clothes. Like I don't understand how the invisible logic works in Kenan and Kel, but I don't think we have to.
So they got the reverse valve.
And Kenan runs in. He goes, Mama, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy.
He's like shouting.
He's like, Kenan, I'm right here.
He's like putting it back on the trashinator. And Kel's shouting like, let me zap him. Then everyone gives him a look.
Yeah. No. So Cheryl Quick asks, how do you know this is the right reverse valve? Like, how do you know it's going to work?
And how do you know all reverse valves are the same? And he's like, I'm sure that works just fine. Here we go. And he blasts his dad.
Bzz. And Roger turns into a goat.
There's now a goat on the couch who has a tie. And he's just like, Kenan. So there's now a talking goat in the Futurama household.
Yep. As absurd as it can get.
That's the end. It just occurred to me that, are you familiar with the plot of Futurama?
Not really.
The main character is a pizza delivery guy, in the year like 1999. He gets frozen, and he's thawed out 1,000 years in the future.
Oh.
So, funny enough, it's the same. They're both called Futurama. It's the same joke. The year 3000 is what we're looking at.
Right.
So, do you have the end scene?
Nope.
I hope you have the end scene in the upcoming episodes, because there's some really, really important end scenes.
I hope so as well. Paramount, don't let me down.
And they learned that in the future, Roger does not get turned back, but he got a good job at the petting zoo. Which is very cruel.
Very, very cruel.
A robot dog rolls up, and then Kenan like gets mad at Kel. He's like, Kel, you're not supposed to bring back things from the future.
Oh yeah, it'll mess up the past.
Yeah, he's like, no, I brought him. I thought I could teach him a few tricks. Like, go fetch. Then he leaves, and he comes back with like something, I think, stolen from the audience or something. Like, it looks like a brawler almost. But he just comes back, and he's like, I don't think he's supposed to steal that. Anyway, Kel, go grab an Oinston, a bicycle pump, a white picket fence, a magic flute, one of those little bitty blue stick things, a pound of butter, a patty melt, a lawnmower, Brian Gumble, and a bunch of assorted cookies and other things we can snack on, and meet me at the circus. Come on, Spicy!
Oh my god.
This giant list. And after he says that, come on, Spicy, he claps his hands together and he says, I'm the man! clearly celebrating that he just did this giant list of things.
There's probably this huge joke about it.
Yeah, the audience is losing it. They're laughing so hard, and Kel's just like looking at him like mouth open, and he's like, just like, Kenan, how am I gonna carry all that stuff? I'm the man, Kenan. Here it goes. He picks up the dog and he walks off.
Do. Nice.
Yep. So good, very good end credit scene. I'm sorry Paramount didn't have it.
That's okay. It happens.
That's Futurama.
Nice. What a timeless episode, as I said earlier.
I love watching, like, looking into the future stuff, because sometimes stuff they get right, sometimes they get wrong.
Right.
They're not perfectly prescient, but they're like 50% prescient.
Right. Which kind of makes you hopeful for, I don't know, the future. Because, like, there's a lot of cool stuff in a lot of science fiction movies, A lot of scary stuff, but a lot of cool stuff, too.
Yeah, this is a fun future to inhabit. I would almost watch a whole show like that looked like this. Well, I guess I'm just talking about the Jetsons.
A sitcom of sorts in the future. I like the idea because, like, a lot of times when we have these dystopian future movies and stuff, it's always about, like, destroying whatever powers or fighting against the powers of like, the people who put them in that situation. Well, there's probably just some, normal people who are, like, just living life. Just doing their thing, It's like, oh, whatever. Like, this is.
And I like, as you said, you can totally read this as they're in a dystopian era.
Yeah, but you don't have to. I mean, there's sports and music.
Aaron, whose fault do you think this episode was? Kenan's or Kel's?
I think this was Kel's fault, Adam.
Yeah, this is like Kel's fault a few times over.
But Kenan should have studied.
He should have. I guess they won't get into this problem if he studied.
Well, I mean, Kel was still shooting that thing off willy-nilly. It was bound to happen.
Yeah, Kel was really trigger happy with the trashinator. If it wasn't like in this incident, it would be another incident in their lives that he would have like destroyed everything with.
Yeah, I think so. If they had the trashinator for a long time, don't you think Kel would know the rules by now?
Oh, I think that if anything, we've learned that rules they mean nothing to Kel. He will. I'm thinking of the freezer burned episode.
Yep.
It's like, there's so many social things that he should have totally nailed in that one, but he got wrong in major ways.
Yeah, he was having an off day. That
tracks for me. I have a quick listener comment I would like to break this up with.
Sure, go for it.
Listener comment's incorrect. It's not someone listening to the show, but there's someone that I caught their tweets on Twitter, and I said that we would answer it on our show.
Cool.
So this was written by AKA Johnny T. Johnny with no H, 2 N's. My kid's 8th birthday is still about 6 months away, but she says she wants a Kenan and Kel themed birthday. I assume that, their kids were like watching it like on Paramount Plus and like really enjoying it. And he said the orange soda part is obvious, but are there any other items that would help complete this theme?
Wow. What a great question.
I agree. Like, this is that's what I want to talk about.
An 8-year-old's Kenan and Kel themed birthday. Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, you win Father of the Year, Johnny T. Excellent job.
Yeah, you not only raised your kid on Kenan and Kel, but they want it to be their party.
Wow, what other staples are there on Kenan and Kel?
I've been thinking about this question for a bit longer than you. Like setting up your place like Rigby's might be a fun activity.
I like that, yeah.
I'm thinking of like Kyra's party. There's a lot of like fun hats.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. The other component that I would definitely do is 90s throwback by way of Kenan and Kel.
Yeah, 90s throwback would be cool. That's a great idea, Adam. Yeah, like big jeans, maybe go hit up the local thrift store, look for some stuff or whatever.
People of all ages do like 90s parties nowadays.
Yeah. I think if you really want to get Kenan and Kel specific, you got the ham.
Yeah, serve the ham.
You could have the ham. You could have Pizza Farm. I don't know, like all the food places. A deep fried sweater. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, they go to all kinds of different restaurants and stuff like that. So
I think that'd be cool to do like a kind of like a grocery theme, and everybody has like these baskets when you walk into the birthday party, and you go grocery shopping at Rigby's, like in the kitchen or wherever.
They have like party favors at that age, right? So you get like a little like kind of paper bag of
you get like a paper bag. You get like a fruit and like a can of beans. I don't know.
And some people like they do like a party like a birthday person hats or the crown or sash. Have your kid wear like get a little Rigby's apron.
A Rigby's apron would be cool, very cute. And then what's the cake from the party that they have to pick up? What's the cake called, Adam?
Oh, you mean like the double chocolate,
double chocolate raspberry? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they do the cake like that, and I don't think you can hide anything in it for a kid's birthday.
No.
But yeah, I assume you'd paint it instead. You'd have it like orange and have one of those pictures of Kenan and Kel on it that you can eat.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, get like one of those pictures on the icing, like the edible pictures. Maybe one of those classic like Kenan and Kel and like hugging and.
I'm still thinking like maybe a couple games. I mean, you can do like a musical chairs, like the Kenan and Kel theme song.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, or just the beats that they got going on. You can find that online. I want to say like Pintail and Donkey, but the equivalent of that is it's Roger's like head, and you have to like hit him with
something. That's awesome. Oh yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
So there you go. Those are some party things to help you out.
Those are some great ideas. Yeah. Well, we would love to see a picture of whatever you come up with, or just to hear how it goes. That'd be awesome. So let us know.
Yeah. No. Keep in touch, Giant T.
Great job parenting.
Back to ratings here. Futurama is ranked 18 out of 62 on IMDb with a 7.9 rating. Very high on the list. How would you rank this episode, Aaron? And tell me your final thoughts.
For the creativity of this episode, I'm going to give it a 9 because there wasn't the best, especially like some of the intermittent moments. Like that at the dinner table, it was like I was missing something there. Good world building though. Really nice job on the creativity side. So that is going to give a 9 from me.
That's a fair call. I respect it. This is a 10 bottles of orange soda out of 10
awesome.
For me.
Awesome.
There are some like episodes that I recall from season 4 as being stand out above the cut. This is one of them because they win all outs. Every line's real good. The situation is they got into trouble in the future, and this is the shape of it. Sure, some of the antiques and like are very far removed. Like what they do they do Laserball, but they don't do they have no idea what baseball is.
Right.
So maybe that is the case. Maybe it's so far advanced, but no episode has got me to talk and think this much about it.
Yeah, I do love that.
In a long part of their run. So it's a rich episode, and I think it deserves a rich score.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, this was a tremendous episode, Adam, and I'm really happy we got to talk about it in the future. So we hope that maybe somebody will review this episode again in the future, and they're laughing at our technology. Podcasts? How ridiculous. They didn't even have a video podcast. Yeah, so thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Come back and join us next week for April Fools, an April Fools episode of Kenan and Kel, and you can guess who is the one pranking everybody. It's the show's named after him. It's Kenan, and it's going to be a fun episode.
Yeah. Tune in then, and we'll see you then for our penultimate episode of Kenan and Kel proper. There's so many asterisks on that. There's only one more after that, then the TV movie. Good luck with all of your party planning pursuits. Kenan and Kel themed, of course, always. Maybe in the future we'll have a little bundle for you. A little Kenan and Kel party bundle. Until that release date, everybody, we'll see you next time. And with that being said, here it goes. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. If you want to stay in touch, send us an email at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a voice message at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. Our social media accounts are all at KenanKelPodcast. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks, everybody.